But when I hand back the test next time, instead of just handing it to him, I've got it opened up to a page where he got something right. And I'm going to say quietly, so that only Josh and I can hear it. So that only Josh and I can hear it. I have to say it louder or else I'm only benefiting Josh today. But I'm going to point to it and I'm going to say, Josh, you know what? You got that one right. You were paying attention that day. A lot of people miss that one. Good job. And I'm going to walk away. That's all I'm going to say. Now, first of all, Josh is going to be like, huh? What just happened? And he's going to look and say, yeah, it's an F. What just happened? He said I did a good job, but I got an F. Now, Josh is left wondering a little bit, which is a good first step because usually Josh just throws it away. He doesn't even think about it. But now he's thinking a little bit because I've challenged his perspective on what just happened. I have not just said, and this is what, you guys do this all the time, and then you follow it up with, Josh, see, if you just paid attention, if you just did your homework, if you just studied, if you just came to see me, you could get A's and B's or C's or whatever it is you say. But I'm not going to say that to him. I'm going to walk away, leaving him with good job. What's the difference? What's the difference? Yes?
Had control over that correct answer.
Can you say that louder?
Had control over that correct answer.
Good. He had control over the correct answer. It's something that he can actually do. He can't control his grade. You can't control your grade. You just do the best you do. And you've got a track record that you can estimate where it's going to fall out. It's something he can control. What else? Yes?
It kind of turns into a lecture and reminds him again of what he was doing wrong.
Excellent. That's right. Because Josh, as soon as he hears me say, if you would only, anything good I said just went out the window. He doesn't care anymore. All he hears is, yep, I failed again. Right? It's still an F. It still wasn't good enough. The difference, and this is a concrete thing you can do to reach some of these students. The difference is you've left him with something good to think about. A little while ago I was talking about, people have to stack up their successes. I just gave him one. And I gave it to him in a place he would never look. You see, I didn't ask him to take the first step. That's why I emphasize find success within a typical scenario for failure. How do you get somebody's attention? Surprise him. He's expecting me to say the same old thing, but I didn't. Yes?
But you were very specific about what would lead to success in your
Sure.
comment that you gave him. You were really listening in class that day.
Sure.
So you let him know what you did well.
That's right.
And how you can find that success.
Right. But I'm not going to emphasize that any more beyond that conversation because we're all tempted. We see the big picture. We know this is it. This is the key to Josh's success, and so we're going to build on that. But we got to stop. And we, with that one little interaction, are not going to change his life. But think about over the course of a school year, with continued messages like that, you can start to do something that we all know makes a huge difference with students. Build a relationship with that student. Individualize our instruction with that student. All these things that we say, well, we know that's important, but how do we do it? I just gave you an example. That's a great way to do it, okay? You start to open the lines of communication, and maybe eventually you get through, okay? Whoops. Oh, yeah, I do want to do this. All right, this isn't too complicated, but I want you to grade this quiz. I picked something we could all do. Just shout out the grade. +3. What? -2? 60. Anybody got a letter grade? D. Some grading systems might be an F. Okay. What's so magical about these numbers that we've chosen? Anything? Think about that for a second. Let's grade another quiz. This was a little more challenging. I was an English major, so sorry. Grade this one. Three out of five? Plus 3? Okay, we can say the same thing as the last one, right? Minus 2, 60, D, F, whatever it is. Okay. Which one of these is the most important on this list? Which one of these concepts, let's defer to math people. Which one of these concepts is the most important? Is there one that you would defend as most important? You don't have to. If you say,
Well, I think the subtraction is important. If you have 4 and you have to take away 2, why did you add 2 instead? And like paying attention to that sign there for
Yeah.
number 2.
okay, so the concept behind the error makes that one more important?
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, I'll buy that. My point is, whenever you give any sort of assessment, a quiz, a test, whatever it is, can you test over every single thing that you have taught? Can you test over every variation, every single concept that you want your students to achieve? No. We pick representations. We pick the things that we think represent the concepts that we're most interested in. We're looking for students who are going to put 4 minus 2 equals 6 because we know usually it's you got to pay attention to the sign. Most of the time they can do it. They just got in a hurry and we're trying to teach them you have to be more careful when you work with numbers. But ultimately, think about what you've done to a student's perspective if you say that's a D or that's an F. Because a student missed a couple, I can tell you, I have 3 kids in elementary school, and they're all doing wonderfully. I'm very, very lucky. They're all doing wonderfully. But every now and then, my middle child, Jack, he is a perfectionist. And if he makes a couple mistakes when there are only 5 or 6 things to do, and there's a letter grade on that, that's a D or an F, he's devastated. And I think, why did you do that? I like +3. You know what? I want to suggest another way that we can work with building self-respect is to build upon successes incrementally. Apply principles of progressive skill development as you would any skill in your curriculum. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. But with the example I was just giving, just to throw out there, not that you could necessarily do this, but wouldn't it also be possible to say, okay, if you want to get an A in this class, you have to accumulate 1,000 points. And I'm going to give you all kinds of opportunities to earn those points. And so what matters is how much plus you have on each item. And some students are going to need more papers to get to that 1,000 than others.